Sup guys and girls and everybody else, this is Zardi, and today I'm gonna do an ASMR soft-spoken review of the new Disney movie called Turning Red. And I'm already gonna say it was pretty good, and it's not because I'm a furry. But yeah, let's go to the review. You can go ahead and listen actively to what I gotta tell you, or you can just play this video in the background and focus on something else. So let's talk briefly about the plot. Of course, I'm gonna try to not give you any spoilers, as always. The movie is about a 13 years old girl called Maylene Lee, also called May for short. She lives in Canada, not USA for once, and she comes from a Chinese family with her mom being quite religious towards red pandas because their ancestor was really connected with them. May has a cool life. She's doing great at school. She has, I'm gonna say, interesting friends. And at the same time, she's trying to obey her mom's authority and make her happy, which not always makes May herself happy. And suddenly, May's life gets a 180-degree turn when one day she wakes up as a huge red panda, which makes things really hard, not because she's huge, but also because May was starting to go through puberty and she was getting mood swings. B, May was a huge fan of a boy band called Four Town. They were going to have a concert in Toronto, Canada, but of course May is not going to go there as a panda. So from now on, she's trying to figure out how to control pending, as I'm gonna call it, and possibly get rid of that state whatsoever. Now, we talked briefly about the plot. Let's talk about the movie overall. Not gonna lie, the intro was cringy, to say the least. And that's not where the cringe ends. When May started growing up, literally growing up, at first, May's mom thought May was going through a period, constantly reminding her about the menstrual pads, even at school. Ew. But yeah, I can understand that these scenes were possibly made cringy on purpose, and later the movie gets much better. The animation is really nice. After all, it's a Pixar movie. You could get a bit of a teenager vibe too. And the way they animated May as a red panda. Oh gosh, she looked so fluffy and cute. I could literally put her on my body pillow and cuddle with her. If not the fact that she's 13 in the movie. Yikes. She looks nice even as a Kemonomimi, in fact. The only thing I didn't like in the animation were the kawaii eyes. They looked quite fake. Not that anything in this is real, but they just didn't fit the overall art style of the movie. Unfortunately, you're gonna see them quite a lot. There were also two scenes that felt weird. In one of them, May is jumping like an anime character. In the other scene, one of May's friends borrows her a deodorant stick. Ew, you don't share these, it's not hygienic. Also, May's mom said, quote, "You only have one chance to banish it," end of quote, with it being the panda. But later in the movie, it turns out that's a total lie. And why does a teacher with a Polish last name, Mr. Kieślowski, sound Russian? And how does a video camera from 2002 Sound like my 2 years old Lumix. Anyway, let's keep going. Since the movie is set in 2002, there's a lot of references from that era. Old cell phones, boy bands, Tiger electronic games, boomboxes, Discmans, Tamagotchi, which actually plays a big part in the movie, surprisingly. Wait. Kawaii eyes, jumping like an anime character, Tamagotchi? That many Japanese references in a movie about Chinese people. That sounds a bit racist, but I'm white as paper, so who am I to judge? Also, of course, there was a lot of traditional Chinese stuff. Apparently in Canada there is a Chinatown. I didn't know that, so it's cool. Yeah, there was a lot of Chinese symbols. By that I don't mean Chinese flags, but traditional Chinese things, including religious stuff. So I think that is a pretty big nod towards China, because usually nowadays we don't see a lot of China-related movies. Because, like, let's be honest, the Japanese culture is ruling the world now. The soundtrack was nice, and it was certainly giving the 2000s vibe as well as the traditional Chinese mood, because there were some Chinese sounding songs in the background. And at first I didn't even know that some of the songs were written by Billie Eilish and her brother Phineas, and it turns out he actually was singing as one of the boys in Fort Town. So that is pretty nice, good job. As for me, this movie actually became pretty personal. After all, I'm a 2000s kid too. Well, to be honest, in 2002 I was 1 year old, but I still know how it's like to live in that era. May couldn't control switching into a red panda, just like I can't control my gender fluidity, because if you didn't know, I'm gender fluid. And at the end of the day, this movie is about enjoying who you truly are and enjoying your choice of who you want to be, even if other people are not gonna like that. And that's what matters the most in Turning Red, and I like that. I'm gonna give this movie 8.5 out of 10. It's not as good as Luca in my opinion, but it's quite effective in a positive way in my opinion, and I would gladly watch the sequel if it will ever come out. We are not done yet with the review. Before we end this video, I'd like to make a small segment about a Polish dub of the movie. I was able to watch Turning Red in both English and Polish versions of the movie. Just in Poland, we don't officially have Disney Plus yet, so I watched that movie at the cinema. Comparing both versions, May's voice sounds much more annoying in the Polish version, and the same version also misses out on some details. For example, since I watched the Polish version first, at first I didn't know that Abby, one of May's friends, was Korean. Turns out the scenes where she was speaking in Korean were translated to Polish. Can I ask why? The next thing, in the English version, one girl has a text "girl power" on her hoodie. In the Polish version, though, there is a female symbol and a thunder, both in the middle of a heart. Although that might be something put into all non-English dubs. In the other scene, a sign that originally said "No Tylers" had no text in it in the Polish version. Also, instead of the red moon, we had blood moon. It could be because krwista, which means bloody, has less syllables than czerwona, which means red. Next, in one scene, May said they were, quote, 100 short, end of quote, to pay for all tickets for the concert. In the Polish version, however, they were $200 short. Where did that come from? And in one scene, Mr. Gao said he liked Tony Bennett, where in the Polish version, it was changed to Frank Sinatra. And to finish this segment, Polish name of the movie is To nie wypada, with the last word obviously being a pun. The idiom to nie wypada means something like it's inappropriate to do this. Like, for example, it's inappropriate to burp in public. And that would be all from this review. You can let me know in the comments down below. What do you think about Turning Red? Did you like this movie? Did you not? What do you think about this review, for example? If you enjoyed this video, you can show it some love by leaving a like and subscribing with the bell to not miss other ASMRs which I upload twice a week. There are links for the socials in the description, for example, my Twitter, where I tend to post some exclusive stuff. And there are also links where you can support the channel, for example, buying coffee. And every supporter will be mentioned in the next videos as a way to say thank you. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and good night.